I'm Tom Glassman. Welcome to Learning How to See. This is where we look at a few images and examine some basic techniques that anyone can use right away to start taking better photographs, regardless of the camera you use or your skill level. If you like what you're seeing, please consider subscribing for more tips. Also, liking doesn't hurt either. Hey guys, welcome back. This is kind of a little bit part two, a continuation of the last episode where the theme was words as pictures or words with pictures. The theory is that out there in the world, there are a lot of interesting images that work better or actually function as a neat image when you have a sign or words with it. So that's what this is all about. It's showing you an example of how words work and make for an interesting image. This very first one is pretty obvious. It's a motorcycle couple and with a just married sign on them on the back with glitter, and I saw them pull into a parking lot and I just grabbed the shot in a hurry. Obviously they wanted to be seen and have their picture taken, so I didn't need to ask them ahead of time. It's a pretty public place, but the point is it makes for a fun image, especially on a motorcycle. So that's what's going on there. This particular image was taken in Southern Oregon, and it was when there was a lack of funds in the city treasury, and there was a cutback on a lot of services, including the libraries. A lot of the libraries had either closed altogether or were down just to one day. And what this image is, I was up in, I won't say the town, but there's this interesting image out front of the library, and she looks very sad, almost like she's weeping. And I focused on her, so her face is very sharp, her expression is very poignant, and I wanted the library to be visible, part of the image, but slightly out of focus, so it didn't compete with her. But again, this is a case where the words library work with this image at that time in this place. And I actually sold a couple of these images in galleries because it was a nice metaphor, visual metaphor for what was going on at the time and how we weren't funding our valuable resources. This is one I've shown at least once, maybe twice before, and it's just fun. But again, it's words working with an image. It says Airport Cafe, which by itself is not a great image. But when you have this deliciously sad little airplane cut out of almost like construction paper and pasted on there, and when it all works together, it just makes for a nice, kind of charming, sad, lonesome little image. Notice too that I moved in close and cropped it in the camera, so you have these are windows here on the side. This is a blue frame on a window. This is a blue thing at the door. But you're always thinking about not just the image, but what's on the side, what's above it, what's below it. I didn't go any farther up. I wanted this straight line across. So again, while you're taking your image, don't forget the four corners. Here's one that doesn't quite work, and I took the same thing. The next image will be taken actually the following year. But what I was trying to do, I love the yellow caution sign against the red caboose. I forget what the CB&O or CB&Q railroad stands for, but it had oozing potential. Doesn't work. So I came back, it was about a year or two later, and the sun was hitting it brighter. They had repainted the thing, the caboose, and it just made for a really fun image. again, by itself, with that, against that, it was one thing, but that's all the words that were there. It puts it in context, and it just makes for a better image. Here you can see looking through to the trees in the background, and here's a reflection. But again, I'm always talking about layers, something in front of something behind. A bright yellow dot against another primary color like red. Always keep a lookout for these kinds of things because it makes for a great image. Without the sun, this wouldn't have the impact. So I'm always talking about having patience. Wait for the sun to come out. Or if you don't have time, have a flash on your camera. If you do the flash and light that up, that'll be very bright and you can get the same effect. Again, these are not the world's greatest images. They're never going to be submitted as, into contest or something like this. But when you have parts of a bench that say Omak Stampede, Suicide Race, Omak, Washington, and down here, Mummy Wrap Inc., or Mummy Wrapping, Cairo, Egypt. You just don't see that every day, and especially in the same bench. You don't see a Suicide Race in Omak, Washington next to Mummy Wrapping in Cairo, Egypt. I have no idea what was going on there, but I took the picture. I couldn't get back any further because I was getting too much garbage in there, but there was enough left in the image to let anyone decipher what's going on. Again, I amused myself, I had fun, but again, it's just making words and letters work as an image. I was in London. This is at the Underground and the Baker Street stop, and it was kind of neat because it had the little silhouette of Sherlock Holmes, but it also had, I should actually do this, had the no smoking thing up here with his pipe going down. So again, I framed it with the red chairs. This is curving up. You've got the silhouette of Sherlock Holmes, Baker Street. There was too much garbage off to the right. But again, I included enough to make the image work, have everything there and tell the story. And again, Baker Street and Sherlock Holmes would have been so-so. The no smoking thing with his pipe, another minor, moderate, average, mediocre element. Here we are. This is one of, this is in Bandon, Oregon, I believe. But you had this sign for the Raven, and I don't know what the Raven was, whether it was a gift shop or something. And you had two ravens perched on top of the sign, or the building, in the same direction, same position as the Raven. So I thought to myself, hey, that's a okay average shot. It's just fun. Once again, I amuse myself, but I also have a lot of photo friends who always put ravens in everything, so I was thinking of them as well. But it's whimsy, and that's what this is all about, using words to make an image more whimsical than otherwise. I'm a big fan of that 1950s hideous style graphics architecture and what have you. And this was a leftover motel sign. I don't think the motel is there any longer. It's in Northern California. What I did here, this is a case where I use a polarizer filter, which is why you get that good blue sky, which allowed the motel to stand out. I took this shot from this side of the sign rather than the other side because this side was lit by the sun. The other side was in shadow, was not that glorious, and the polarizer wouldn't work from the other direction. So it all came together to make another amazingly okay average shot. But it's a homage to the 50s with that kind of lettering. This is another one you've seen before. This was at a state fair. It was the day before they were open. They were still setting up. And again, I liked I was drawn to the colors. That's what attracted me first. And you had the bright yellow vinyl here. This vertical strip of blue is a blue piece of vinyl that I included there. Notice that you have, if these didn't have the labels on them, I probably wouldn't have taken the shot. It just made it more silly and whimsical to have them labeled. And again, when you have tomato ketchup here and barbecue sauce here, I don't know how well you can see it, but there's a redder color here and sort of a darker color to the barbecue sauce. So it was an interesting technical challenge to make sure it was all there with the signage. It was just fun. And so here it is again. And I apologize for repeats. This was, it's a fiberglass sculpture in front of a donut place. And you know, it's just, it says donuts and there are a couple donuts and worth a shot. I, again, liked it for myself. Diners make, diner signs make great images. This was one I saw in the daytime and I had to come back when it was lit up at night. This is across the street where I was shooting it because my lens was a fixed lens and I had to lie down in wet grass. It was raining. And I had to wait until all the cars weren't driving by so you wouldn't see it in front of the thing. Because again, I was lying on the ground shooting up a bit. And it works at night because there's, this is black, this lights up, and there's no distracting phone lines or buildings in the background. But there's something wonderful about neon diner signs. And in the same genre, this was a case where again, in the rain, there's a pattern going on here. I had to stand out in the street. This is in Route 1 in Maine. And I was, as I mentioned, in the street, but I had to make sure this was kind of vertical. I had to wait later in the day. It was kind of dark and the neon came on. Otherwise, it really wouldn't have worked. And by the time you get the whole sign in here, then you have to, I sort of moved, so this blocked out the trees in the background. There's a little bit here, and there's some color going on here. But again, you always have to think what's in your image. Fill the image with as much of the sign as possible and use it to block out anything that doesn't belong there. Also, try and keep your edges up and down vertical. It looks better. Another sign using a polarizer, looking at the side that's lit by the sun. And this was, and again, just the words and the graphics became the image and the subject matter. Here's a close-up. You'll notice I cut it off here, and there are two reasons. One is it was an overhang of the building that created a very dark black shadow where that was in sunlight and everything else above it was in shadow and very dark, hard to see, and some other writing and stuff. It was not that great, so I just figured this would become the image. And it's made up of tiles, mosaics. It was sort of fun in the diner theme. And again, you're shooting words and it's a sign. And this is tough to turn down. This is a flea market in Massachusetts, and it says, "Aliens ate my Buick," plus the lost toy people. And as a bonus, you see an alien spaceship actually devouring a Buick. Tough to beat. You just shoot it for yourself, and looks good in your bathroom, or if you have a friend with a Buick. Who knows? Anyway, I think that's it. It is. So the moral of the lesson or the story for today is words and signs are picture worthy. Don't forget to include them when you're out taking photos, and have fun with them. If they work with something together, it's even better. But just don't forget to look at words. Have fun. Look up, look down. We'll see you soon. Take care, guys. Bye. Since I've started doing this series, I've also started watching a lot of YouTube videos just to get some ideas. And I suddenly realized how really, really important it is for people to like and subscribe. So if you can, please do it. It would really help. Also, if you have ideas, send us comments. Let us know what we should be talking about addressing. We'll show up in the videos. We can also email you some stuff. With that out of the way, thanks for watching. Thanks for your patience, and we'll see you next episode. Well, they're certainly not swaying violently in the wind.
Yeah, it's almost perceptible.
Yeah. Should I go down there with a broom and push them?